Hey, how's it going? It's DeAndre again. In my last video, when I asked if you guys had any questions about tutorials or anything you guys might need help with, I got a lot of comments, and I'm going to do my best to answer every single one, make a tutorial for everything I can, and deliver like the best content, give you the best advice that I see fit that might be able to help you in your training and your progress. But a big question that I got was, can I progress in parkour, or how do I get my flips, or how do I get these movements without a local gym? Now, I know it can be very difficult if you don't have a parkour facility or a local gymnastics center, or you don't have the money to go to one or anything like that. It can be very difficult to progress. It can plateau your training. You find you can't work things in a safer environment than most people, but you just have to get creative. Now, when I first started doing parkour 8 years ago, I didn't have any gyms. I didn't know about gymnastic centers, or I didn't even know I had one that was nearby me or anything. So the first, 2 years, 2.5 years, I was training without a gym, and I was able to get my basic flips, my front flip, my side flip, my back flip without the use of a gym. But I had to think creatively, and you have to think out the box, which is a great quality for free runners to have anyway. To be able to improvise, and if you don't have, the necessities to learn something, don't let that stop you. You got to have an unbeatable will and the desire to learn, and you'll be able to learn anything you want. So even though I can't teach you how to get over the fear per se of learning how to do a flip, I can give you pointers on doing that, but I can't. There's no secret pill on or secret message I can give you on how to get over the fear of learning how to do things, especially if you don't have a gym. But I can tell you from personal experience how I learned how I did my flips, and maybe that can help you. Okay, so even though it's been a while, when I think way back on the basic flips of, I believe the first one I learned was a back flip, a back tuck. And it was a winter. I used to live in Nebraska. There was a lot of snow and stuff, so that might be an advantage that I had. But I took the couch cushions that I had from the couches in my house, I bunched them all together, and I was with my friend, and I'll say, okay, today we are not leaving until we go for a backflip. And I remember just throwing them sideways, throwing them maybe not in the most safe way, but it was as safe as I could make it. Again, if you don't have a gym, it's impossible to learn this the absolute safest way. But I had cushions, which acted as a crash mat, and I was able to learn it that way. I believe I learned a back handspring first. So I went for back handspring. Later on that day, we took it outside. We bunched a bunch of snow together. We stood on like a little box. I think it was like an electrical box that was maybe like 3 feet high, and then we started working back handsprings off the box, but we were so high that our hands couldn't touch the ground. So we ended up just whipping around, and that's how I learned how to do backflips off of things. And I just kept drilling that, so I got really confident. And after that, the snow melted. I think it was about spring. I looked at a couple tutorials on how to do a back tuck. So I basically just took the principles that they gave me, and I was already drilling them outside. I was already able to do it off stuff, so doing it on the ground, it was a little bit lower than I expected, but I was able to cooperate and able to, come up with a solution and learn how to do it on flat. I believe I went from 3 feet, I found something that was 2 feet, and I found something that was not even that high off the ground, and I did it off that, and I was like, okay, well, I can do a ground level. I found some nice sand at a local playground near me, and I learned how to do a back tuck. So that's how I got that. Okay, now I believe the next one after that, I learned how to do a front flip. And the way I did that, I was training with my friend's apartment complex one day, and we were just training around the garbage dumps or whatever, because they had brick walls, and we were able to climb and work in our top outs and stuff. And we saw an old mattress someone threw away, and we were like, man, this is the perfect chance for us to drill flips. Anytime you see an old mattress, that's the best time to pull it out and just try stuff. So we pulled it out in the grass, and I began working front handsprings over and over and over again, and then I was working front handsprings over his back while he was hunched over. And I just kept drilling that over and over, and eventually I just went for it. And it wasn't the most perfect front flip, but the point was just to get over the fear of going for one. And what I realized with a lot of the basic flips is, if once you get over the fear of going for it, you realize falling isn't as bad as you think it is, and from there you're able to assess what I did wrong, what I can do right, and work on your basic technique and your form until you get it down pat. So that's how I got my front flip. Okay, now for the side flip, I didn't necessarily use mats at all. I started off doing it on grass, just drilling cartwheels. Even though it doesn't translate very well, I needed to get used to going sideways, and my cartwheel wasn't that great. So if you want to learn a side flip, you know, you should at least get the basics down. Get a cartwheel, maybe a one-handed cartwheel, maybe an aerial, you know. But anyway, we drilled that for a little bit, and then I went to do side rolls on the grass. I'll just kneel down, do side rolls, practice grabbing the back of my knees, and I kept drilling that over and over with my friend. And then I told him, you know, hunch over again. So he hunched over with his back, and I would just run, jump onto his back, and just roll over, completely safe. And he supported me, so I wouldn't have to worry about making it around as much. I was just drilling the technique over and over again. And every time I would put more and more power into doing it, and eventually I was like, okay, I'll just stay there just in case I need you, but if not, I'm gonna try to jump over you. And so I ran, hit it, jumped over his back, tucked, flipped around, and made it on my feet actually. I believe I over-rotated the first one. And that's when I realized how easy it was, and I was like, wow, that was really simple and really easy. So I kept drilling that over and over with him there to aid me. Afterwards, I did the same for him, and he was able to get his side flip, and I believe we got it in that day. We had it really good in about like 2 weeks or so of drilling it and practicing it. But basically the point I'm trying to get is, if you want to learn your flips and you don't have a gym, the only advice anyone could really give you is you have to think creative, you know. Find old mattresses you can pull outside, maybe one inside your house, pull it outside, drill it a couple times. Find old couch cushions you can use to work on it. Also, wood chips, parks with wood chips are usually pretty soft. Parks with sand, really nice fine sand, those are really good as well. You want to look for stuff like that. And you just want to think the most creative way possible, because it's a lot harder to learn a lot of the movements without, you know, the safety net of a gym, but a lot of times it can be beneficial and positive for us because we're used to just training outside over and over again. So when you come across an obstacle you know you can do, but you don't have the courage to do it, and someone trains in the gym all the time versus you're always training outside, most likely you're going to go for it before that person does. You're going to be able to get over the fear before that other person can do it, and that's because they're used to, you know, mats, a cushion and stuff like that. They're used to basically the safety net of having a gym where they can go and practice it all the time, as opposed to you where you always go outside and you're able to improvise on your feet, and you see an obstacle and you're scared to do it, but you know, all you know is outside training. So you find creative ways to get around that fear and you're able to go for it. So it can be very, very beneficial. Don't see it as a disadvantage. It's only a disadvantage if you see it as one. You have to think of it as, you know, as a new obstacle you just have to pass through. And you know, and I'm very confident that even though without a gym, actually I know without a gym you can do it because I did it. I learned all my basic flips without a gym. But with that being said, if you can find a local facility, you definitely should. You know, just Google local gymnastics centers in your area. Usually it's about $10, $15 for an hour, maybe 2 hours on a Friday or Saturday night or something like that. And it's very beneficial if you can find one. It's very safe and you can just go for one. But if not, you just have to not beat yourself up over it and just find another way of learning those techniques. And let me know what you guys think about this. I know it's a little bit different than how most people will probably teach how to learn things outside without a gym or whatever. You know, they'll usually find like some type of system or some type of way of doing it. But I was speaking from personal experience how I did it because it worked for me. So if it worked for me, why wouldn't it work for anyone else? So I know it can be done. Don't forget to comment on this video, like if you like what you saw, and share it. Please share it with other people. If you have a friend that needs help and he doesn't have a local gym, and you found this useful, please share it with him. Maybe that'll encourage him to go out and try the new movements anyway without thinking he's at a disadvantage because he doesn't have a facility. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and in the next video I'll be talking about running precisions because I got a lot of comments about that. So next week look out for that. Train hard, train safe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.